All right, and welcome back. Now, as mentioned in the hyperlinking, this is our second one to change some of these things. You can see that that purple writing on that blue background is really, really challenging. And typically, um, the hyperlinks are actually blue at the beginning. If you've never visited a site before, you're going to have a blue link, and if after you've visited or gone to a particular link, it turns to purple. Well, that worked fine and all when we had pretty plain, boring not boring websites, but plain websites that had white backgrounds. You could very easily differentiate these. But now we've got the options of changing all these different colors and putting different background colors, different font colors, things like that. So you can, if this had blue writing on a blue background, we would basically be lost, or purple writing on this purple background, we're also going to be lost, which means you essentially have excluded a large number of colors if you're stuck with these hyperlink colors. Luckily, we are not stuck with them. And if we open up our style sheet here, edit with Notepad, here is my current style sheet for these documents. I've only changed a couple different things. And what I can do is, remember, we are changing, styles are changing the appearance of things. So I'm going to change the appearance of a hyperlink. You'll notice that a paragraph doesn't do it because a hyperlink is actually something special on its own. And we actually have a number of different options for styling this. You'll see that when I move over it, there's the hand changes. Notice when I click on it too, actually, that hyperlink changes to a different color. You'll remember the normal color of a hyperlink is blue and underlined, and a visited page is purple and underlined. So there's lots of different states in this. So in our CSS, we call these different states a pseudo class. Um, which means that it's a tag that we're redefining, but we have a number of different options for that tag, or those tags have kind of sub states in being. So the tag I'm going to redefine, of course, is the A tag for an anchor. However, there's several options that we have to include here for these. So you can have up to four different things. Really, two of them are critical that you would be playing with. The first one here, A, is just a standard link. So that would be your blue link. And the colon here is what indicates that this is a pseudo class or part of the A. You can't just have a link on its own. So I'm saying the link version of the A tag is going to look like this. And I'll just change some colors here, but there's lots of things you could add to that. In this case, I'm going to make the color of my links, let's call it something different than what we have. The color is white. All right, and we would have to make a new link for that. So let's just quickly go back and see that. Maybe on my first page here, I'm going to link this and just paste another one here. Here's a little trick. If you're just designing your page and you don't actually have your other page ready to go, you can use the hashtag. This is kind of like a placeholder link. So it will, in fact, go nowhere, but it will show up as a link. And I'm going to put a little break tag in here just so we're not right next to each other. All right, and have a look at the page, and there you can see that we've got the link. The link I've never been to before is white, and the one I have been to before is now purple. So that allows us to also have a look at changing that. So there's our first one. We also have an A visited, which will allow us to change the color of that purple from the default purple to whatever we would like it to be. I'm going to make it yellow just to see what goes on. And if we go back to our page and refresh, you'll see there we have now a yellow visited link, a white standard one. But I said there's two more here. We have a cool one here, which is really nice for some interactivity. This is the hover. And this is essentially what happens when your mouse goes over top of a link. So I'm going to just change that to let's see, color gray. I think it's Gray they're using the spelling, but I guess we'll find out. Yes, there you go. So you can see as I move over top of it now, we change to different colors. Really gives us a kind of a cool and nice interactivity to the hyperlink. And the final pseudo class for hyperlinks is the active. And this is the one, what happens when I'm actually clicking the link. By default, it's a red. If you switch back there. Oh, interesting. I've overwritten it, so it's not doing it. But let's put it back in there. So I'll make the color red and save that. Refresh, and now as I click on the link, you can see it goes that bright, nice bright red there. So it just gives us a little bit of an extra feel. Now as I go back, you'll see I clicked on that link already. So now it's actually turned yellow because it is now a visited link. And you can see here we've got our 4 states, our 4 pseudo classes for our hyperlinks. A is the first one, and we've got link, a visited one, the hover color, and the active. All sorts of options you can do with this as well, of course. You don't just have to change the color. I'm going to do whether they're visited now. So there's a bunch of different options. There is one that I'll caution you that a lot of people play with, but from a design perspective, you can run into some problems here. Text decoration is a style that allows you to basically change what kind of lines are involved here. So by default, hyperlinks are always underlined, but I see a lot of people out there going none, turning off that underline on a hyperlink. And if I refresh did I save that there? Visited, I'm going to do it on the link as well. Text decoration, and there we go. That gets rid of that hyperlink there, that underline there. This arguably gives a cleaner look to your website, which is kind of nice, and why I think you'll see a lot of web designers and a lot of graphic artists doing it. The issue being is that for the past 20, 30 years, we have been trained and conditioned to realize that an underlined word on a web page is a hyperlink. So we're drawn to it. We want to click on it. We want to see that that's somewhere we can go, and we're used to that. So as soon as you start breaking what people are used to, you run into some problems, because when I'm looking at this page just like that, there's really not a lot of indication that these are hyperlinks, and I wouldn't know until I move my mouse over top of them. So people generally don't use web pages going like this and moving their mouse around to see what they could click on. There needs to be some kind of indication that this is a hyperlink and it's something that I have the ability to click on without just having to move around and see the mouse change or have a hover. Now the hover is a good start. It gives me an indication as I move around that this is something, I could probably work with, but you need something else to indicate that that's a hyperlink rather than just looking like regular text. And it could be that you put a button around it. It could be that you make it italics. From a designing perspective, you just have to think, how do I indicate this is a link? And the best way is just using what exists, an underline. Similarly, you probably don't want to put underlines on things like headings and other text to emphasize it, because then people think that that is a hyperlink and they'll start clicking away on headings and things like that. So just some design thoughts and ideas, but you can have a ton of fun. You can change colors, you can change italics, you can figure out and explore all of the different options on CSS as to what you can make these links do to be a little more interactive and a little more interesting.